Okay, so we're here with Nikki SooHoo, who you might be familiar with from The Lovely Bones and Stick It and Bring It On 5 or Cinco. And today we're going to be talking about food. In particular, we're going to be talking about fighting eating disorders. Now, can you tell me why you wanted to talk about fighting eating disorders?
It's been something that I've been around a lot growing up as a dancer and as an actress. I've seen people experience, being very conscious about their bodies and doing different things that kind of harm them, whether it be on the anorexic bulimic side, where they don't eat or throw up what they eat, or on the opposite side, where they eat too much and they're not very conscious of that. So I just became interested in it because I like food a lot.
Now, how has your self-esteem evolved from when you first became an actress to now?
I've actually been very comfortable with my body, but when I see other people, it really makes me feel bad for them and stuff like that, if I feel like they're not in a great place in that sense. And sometimes I do worry about it, but it almost is a counteracting thing where it makes me want to defy, trying to be super skinny or something like that, just to follow the norms of Hollywood.
Now, are there any misconceptions about eating disorders that you would like to talk about?
Well, I think that, most people do relate eating disorders to being ultra skinny. And that's because that's what Hollywood portrays a lot. But I think one of the biggest things that America is fighting right now is obesity. And I think that is probably our bigger problem, where I think they said it's like 1/3 of our nation is obese or overweight. So that's a lot.
I think people think it's all about dieting and not so much about the mental aspects in the healing process.
I think that a lot of people the media and everything have shaped people to think that it could be a biological problem. You're born fat, or you're born with fatter cells, or, it's some people just are more likely to become fat. And people have accepted that. But I don't really believe it personally. I don't think that people are born fat. I do agree that some people are more susceptible to becoming fatter than others. But I do think that it's more a mental game. I think if people were to tell themselves that they shouldn't eat certain things, or that they should exercise, or, that they should limit the amount that they eat, then that would make the biggest difference.
So is it safe to say that once you can figure out the triggers of the eating disorder, you can move forward in the healing process?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's this book that Oprah was actually...
Oprah.
Yeah, that Oprah was promoting. My mom bought it for me. I can't exactly remember the title, but it's about eating. It's like eating women and God or something like that. But it basically talks about, finding out why you actually eat. And are you actually eating when you're hungry, or are you eating to solve other problems? Is it out of stress? Is it because of fear? Is it because you're depressed? Or you really should just deal with the issue rather than using food to make you feel better.
Now, what do you think can help resolve this issue in the media?
I think if the audience were more aware of the good eating habits and the good practices that the fit and physically, well people are, I feel like that would, they need to make more conscious that this is actually how they're doing it, that they're not starving themselves, that they're, that they really are working out, that they're eating right, and that they're very conscious about eating. Like, there's a lot more weight shows and stuff like that that are showing, better practices, which I think is good, and it's getting on the way. But there's just so many audience members who I think feel like, well, that's not me, I can't do that. They don't know, they don't have enough self-confidence in themselves to, make this.
So what are some shows that come to mind for you, like The Biggest Loser and what else?
Yeah, Biggest Loser. There's that new show, Huge. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm very interested in it because I'm not sure if it's about weight loss, but I think it might just be about being big and how life is like that. But it's just making people aware and conscious. What other shows? There's just a lot of workout shows, I feel like. Even getting into the dancing and all of those kind of shows. Like, be active. I really am into that. Like,
Mhm.
I like the shows that are promoting that, and it's getting people into dance. It's getting people into movement, and saying that we shouldn't all just be couch potatoes watching the TV, but maybe try it ourselves.
Now, you yourself are a dancer, so can you talk about how body image is seen in the dance world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming from a more commercial dance side rather than a classical ballet side.
Okay.
I went to OSHA, which is an arts high school, so they had both commercial and classical there. And I have a lot of friends in both departments, and I remember thinking, or watching the classical girls and how conscious they were of looking like the perfect ballerina. And, I mean, still, they're all very, skinny girls,
Mhm.
and they do look beautiful when they dance, but I think the commercial side is a little more accepting of different body shapes, especially with hip-hop coming into play, too. I think people that have a little more on them look better. They don't look as flimsy, flaily, I guess. So, I don't know, but it still was, I mean, we always had to wear tight clothes. We always had to wear things that, showed different parts of our body. So I was very conscious, and a lot of girls are very. I think, for me, like, what I'm really talking about fixing is the normal day average person.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of us are facing this, this play on obesity, but we're okay with it.
Mhm.
When you see somebody being anorexic and not eating or throwing up what they eat, you get nervous because you know, oh, this is an eating disorder. I better help this person.
Yeah.
But when you see people overeating, no one ever really says anything.
Yeah.
My brother can eat like 3 double-doubles at In-N-Out in one sitting, and it's like, are you sure you should be eating that much? I mean, he's still fit because he works out a lot, but if you don't, like, people are saying, this is okay for me to eat, and I think that's where the main problem lies.
So it's really about goal setting and tracking your behaviors.
Exactly.
And being consistent.
Yeah. I mean, I think variation is okay. I don't think you have to eat the same thing every day, all the time, and do, exercise the same thing every time. But you have to be aware. I think people are just letting loose on their practices and not really thinking.
Mhm.
And they're not taking the mental aspect. It really is a mental game, If you are allowing yourself to be this way, it's also a disorder because you're not telling yourself, I can't. It's like, even though anorexic people are probably stronger because they're telling themselves, I am not going to eat that. I am not going to do this. And they are purposely setting what they want. They are setting goals, but that's because they're trying to get to that skinniness. Whereas we are so uncontrolled. No one knows. No one doesn't, they're not even conscious of their problem, which is even worse, I think, because they're just going to keep expanding and expanding.
Not conscious and in denial.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure they even know necessarily.
Okay.
But maybe in denial too, if you brought it up, like, why are you eating so much? Because I deserve it, you know? And that's probably worse than the anorexic people because it's easier to treat someone by helping them just change their mind about how they feel about themselves. But they are strong, obviously, with their practices. Because
Very strong
they know.
will.
Yeah. But for us, we're just like, I can work out tomorrow. I can do this. I can eat that. But no one even, we're not even conscious of what we're doing to ourselves. So I think that's where people need to make the switch, is to realize what they're doing and see it as, a possible hazard to their health and to their lifespan.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
And I look forward to your new projects. Can you talk about what you're working on?
Well, we have some things going on. I'm not sure if we can talk about them actually publicly yet, but we have some things under the table, so hopefully they'll go through.
All right. Thank you so much, and have a great day.